Hi, I'm Paul with Escape into Film, and tonight we're going to be talking about the sci-fi horror flick, The Invisible Man. Long story short, this is definitely a movie you have to see, immediately. Stop what you're doing right now, go see this movie, because it is fantastic. This update of the H.G. Wells story follows a young woman named Cecilia who has fled her abusive husband. I want to say up front, there'll be no spoilers whatsoever, because you have to go in this movie as cold as possible. I know it's kind of counterintuitive to have a movie review about something you don't really want to know much about, but I can tell you right now, I will not spoil anything. I'm not going to go into any details because this is as much of a mystery as it is a drama and a sci-fi horror flick at its core. So it's a lot of different things and it works on a lot of different levels. Horror really works best when it's not just a monster pursuing people or, just faceless evil. The core of this movie really is Cecilia and her plight as a victim of an abusive relationship. Yes, this is a horror movie, and yes, there's a lot of different elements going on, but fundamentally, the reason this movie works is because Elisabeth Moss just kills it as this tormented victim. Even after the beginning of the movie, when she's theoretically free of her abusive husband, she still is very much his prisoner, a captive of the horrible abuse that she's had to live with. And that's really the tone of the movie. As far as opening sequences go, all you see is Cecilia and her husband in bed. And what follows immediately after that sets the tone. You get to know exactly what she's about, what she's capable of doing, and what she's feeling. And as the scene unfolds, you begin to wonder, what is she doing and why is she doing it? What is so terrible that she would go to these lengths? I don't want to spoil it. It's such a great scene. This movie really throws you into who she is, what her situation is, and what her husband is capable of doing. Last fall, people were wondering and hoping that Us star Lupita Nyong'o would get maybe an outside chance at the Best Actress nomination for her role in Us. And a lot of people thought she was snubbed or denied a rightful nomination. And if you go back a little bit further, you'll see that people also thought that Toni Collette deserved an Academy Award nomination for Hereditary. So for the last few years, there's been this trend of actresses giving incredibly strong performances in horror movies and then possibly being denied. I'm hoping that trend ends with this film. You can say everything about how well written this film is and how well paced, but Elisabeth Moss is the heartbeat of this film. She is the reason people connect with it. She is the reason why it's harrowing, and she is ultimately the reason why this is an incredibly complex and incredibly captivating film. Moss's performance is absolutely critical because this is not just a horror movie. This isn't just some science experiment gone awry and then something happens. In this film, the protagonist is the person being pursued by something, and there's a lot of layers to this. The thesis of this film is that even when somebody's able to escape such an abusive relationship, just because they've been able to remove themselves out of a dangerous situation, it doesn't mean that they're not always looking over their shoulder. And this is the great metaphor of the Invisible Man. Even though she knows or believes she's out of danger, she never feels out of danger. But she's looking around every corner. She's very wary. She's very afraid. And her fear is the undercurrent of the film. It's a coiled tension of something that might always happen, because we all know the basic premise, the basic idea of the Invisible Man is, you can't see him. Other iterations have made him a protagonist or a misunderstood character. In this film, he's kind of a boogeyman, and because he's invisible, he can literally be in any scene. He could come out at any moment, and you're always on the edge of your seat. You don't know when he'll strike, if he'll strike. There are scenes where nothing at all happens, but you're on the edge of your seat because you know at any moment something terrible could happen. The film really empathizes with somebody who has been the victim of gaslighting, the victim of somebody who is physically abusive, emotionally abusive. The other takeaway from The Invisible Man is that Whannell, the writer-director, he is absolutely legit. This guy gets horror. This guy gets science fiction. If the undercurrent of The Invisible Man is Cecilia's underlying fear that persists, Whannell understands that the science fiction elements are there to serve the story. In a lot of these movies, you get this long, winding story about how a mad scientist maybe did something or stumbled into some sort of scientific discovery and there's some sort of weird accident. Whannell proves that his last movie, Upgrade, again, stop what you're doing if you haven't seen Upgrade. Upgrade is masterful science fiction. I always describe Upgrade as this is the movie that Venom wanted to be, but Venom ends up being a very stupid version of Upgrade. This was originally supposed to be part of a shared universe that Universal Studios had tried to create. A few years ago, they put out that Tom Cruise movie, The Mummy, and it was supposed to be the start of this dark universe. A revival of all those old monster movies where I think Russell Crowe was supposed to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There's a great promo image that they put out, like, hey, there's this great new expanded universe that we're fleshing out. And that shared universe lasted exactly one movie because The Mummy was terrible. So the natural question now becomes, is Universal trying to restart a shared universe? Now, The Invisible Man does feel very much like a standalone movie, and yet there's a part of me that really does hope that maybe this is the beginning of something else, but at the same time, there's another equal part of me that just wants great individual monster movies that are at least as strong, character-driven stories. Maybe not the shared universe. Why does it have to be a shared universe? Maybe they can coexist alongside each other. But if every movie is as strong as this one, I don't need them to be connected. I don't need a dark universe. I'm just happy with a Blumhouse level quality of monster movies, because if this is indicative of what Blumhouse can possibly do with more horror monster movies, I want to see them all. I want to see a Blumhouse version of Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and everything else. I didn't think I'd be saying this in 2020, but here we are. All right, when it comes to a final score, I have to give it a 4.5 out of 5. This is an incredible film. This is a great genre movie. This is a great drama. This is a great mystery. This is a great thriller. This is a great sci-fi flick. This is the type of movie you want to see in a theater with a lot of people because you're locked in. This is the type of movie that demands that kind of attention. It is pole to pole incredible. So thank you very much for watching. If this is the kind of content you're into, please hit the like button. It really helps out because I'm a newer channel. And if you're into movie reviews in general about all different types of movies, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You can read all of my printed long-form movie reviews at escapeintofilm.com. You can follow me on Twitter at escapeintofilm. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.